Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into O'Neill's Grill for our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon. Today we have JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady, the JMU women's basketball team. They're on the road. Coach Brady said that Coach Brooks is actually sunbathing right now as they're in Winter Park, Florida. They're taking on the fourth-ranked Baylor Bears today, so even if he is out in the sun, he's probably got a computer with him as well watching game tape for tonight's battle. That game is at 5 o'clock. You can hear it on Madison HD Sportsnet free audio as well as locally on ESPN 1360 AM and 101.3 FM. And Coach Brady now joins us. First of all, Coach, congratulations yesterday. A milestone victory, Coach Brady, number 200 in your coaching career at James Madison as well as Marist. So congratulations on that milestone.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Kurt. I have all the gray hairs to show for it, too, now.
Yeah, I'm sure that you've cut a few since that time as well. So congratulations on that. The Dukes improved to 9-3 with their 7th consecutive win as they defeated yesterday afternoon the Pirates of East Carolina 67-61. And, Coach, that's the 7th consecutive victory. What has been the consistent denominator during the course of this 7-game winning streak?
Well, I think we've gotten better defensively. I don't know how many times out of the 7 games we've held a team under 40%, but I think certainly our defense has gotten better. We've only been out-rebounded, I think, twice for the season, or maybe it's 3 times. Certainly we've gotten out-rebounded each of our losses. So I think that we are defensive rebounding the basketball, and I think our defense has gotten better. I think that we're sharing the basketball. Last night we had a number of assists. When you play against the zone, you should have a number of assists. I've said time and again, not all the time are our assist numbers representative, I think, of the ball movement because we throw the ball in the post and guys will take a couple of dribbles. But I thought that against the zone that we did what we could do against that zone. It's a really good zone. Give them a lot of credit for how long they are, how quickly they respond, get to the basketball. But we made just enough plays to get the win.
During this stretch, Coach, your scoring has been all over the place. You've ranged from 107 points. That was against Marshall. Of course, you also had the 106 against Eastern Mennonite. You can even throw that game out of the mix. And then the low of 63. What does that signify to you, and are you okay with what that signifies?
Yeah, no, I am okay with it. I think sometimes when you score a lot of points, it represents you're playing a team that wants to play at a pace, and for whatever reason, it's hard to control the pace. And we're gonna have to be able to play a couple different styles of basketball in this league. You think of William & Mary or Drexel always trying to control the pace. In my time in this league, it's been hard to change the tempo of the game. But I'm really comfortable with our ability to score. I think we're a much better rebounding team than we were a year ago. And I think we're showing signs of becoming a very good defensive team. And those are the 3 things you've got to be able to do to win games at different pace, at different tempos. So, I think when we played Marshall, they're going to shoot fast. And they did that. And we came down the other end and we probed their defense and got shots we wanted. We shot a high percentage. So, yeah, I am comfortable with the disparity in points being scored in different games. But I think the one thing is that our field goal percentage defense, which I think is the most notable, statistic that you want to follow, has been very steady for us and improving actually.
Yeah, last couple of games, in particular, 3 consecutive games where it's been holding the opponent pretty low, in the last 2 in particular. You mentioned it to a certain degree there against the zone yesterday, but was yesterday's display of ball movement about as good as we've seen in quite some time from the Dukes, even if you go back the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think so, and I think this team understands it. We're not young. We're a little bit more experienced. We've been through the wars. Our forwards aren't great passers. I say this all the time. They're very willing passers, but their passes very often when they come out of the lane, they can get deflected. So we're constantly talking to our guards about being in a position where your teammate can see you, where it's not an obstructed pass coming out of the post if we want to throw that ball. So it's interesting. We just talked about this as a staff. All of our guards have a positive assist to turnover ratio, which is a positive for our group. Our forwards not quite there yet. I'm not sure that's going to be. It will considerably improve during the course of the year, but as a team, we're a positive assist to turnover ratio. That's a good thing. I do think the ball moves. Our shot selection has gotten better even within this time of the year. I still think we've got to improve in our ability to cut, and that's something we're going to work on here when we get back from Christmas. Cut harder, cut with a purpose, and free up a teammate via your cut. So, there's always things we can work on and get better at, and we're going to continue to do that.
Well, it also looked like on times yesterday there was you get 2 or 3 ball rotations with a purpose, with a final result in mind, and I think that was epitomized by the 3-pointer that Curry hit late in the game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think even against that 2-2-1 that they showed last night, East Carolina, it never bothered us. We never turned it over. But the ball, you can push the tempo against that. You can get the ball over half court, and you can reverse the ball a little quicker. So again, we'll show our guys a couple of plays where, you're walking here where you can be on a much quicker, more brisk pace. So I think the ball movement can continuously get better. I think the cutting can get better. The pace of the game can improve. So those are things that we'll keep working on.
You've talked about the strength of one of the strengths of this team being the depth of this team. Some of the depth we saw yesterday was Paulie Shotkus, not necessarily scoring points, but coming in and providing a particular distribution role for you yesterday. He finished with 4 assists.
Well, he can really pass the basketball, and sometimes I call him a high risk, high reward guy. But last night, the bounce passes he threw the zone were terrific. He did that last year. We played at Ball State, and he had maybe 5 or 6 assists, and he really passed the ball well. He's a terrific passing forward, and he's gotten better, stronger. He's obviously more experienced. He takes a lot of pride in it, and obviously, when you play against a zone like that, he's the only one of our forwards that can make those plays. And when he was in the game, he made some great, terrific passes. So, I think he can do that man to man. But I think sometimes he tries to thread a needle. But against the zone, he found the right guys.
Is there any merit to looking at when you get points from the guys that you expect to get a lot of offense from? And basically, I'm talking about Ron Curry here. Whether he gets a quick start or he finishes, I did a little bit of an analysis here and found out that a third of his points have come in the last 10 minutes of a ball game this season.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat there, Kurt. You throwing at me? Didn't know it, but I would say to you, he's much more aggressive driving the ball later in the game, and I think he takes it upon himself the absolute result. I think he takes very personally, and I think when he does feel that the game's in the balance, he has an ability to drive the ball. He did it again last night in the second half. I'd really like him to do it really more in the first half, and we talk about it. I think the thing that I'm trying to get Ron to do is at the end of the shot clock not be a willing three-point shooter. I think he's a terrific athlete. He's very good in straightaway space. And I think at the end of the shot clock, he's still a guy that likes to shoot the pull. Now, he can make it, and last year he made it a number of times. But I think with his athletic ability, his ability to pivot in the lane, I really want him to drive the ball at the end of the shot clock, and he's still a work in progress in that regard.
And he has, you said also yesterday, I think in the postgame about he's starting to get a little bit more consistent offensively. After all, in 3 of his last 4 games, he's been 20 points or more.
No, and I think he'll continue to do that. And you make the point about the end of the games. Last 10 minutes of the game, he's been terrific. He was all of last year. And I do think he's catching his stride here a little bit. The semester's over. There's a couple guys already in the gym shooting. We don't practice till 3, so I think Ron will get in the gym. He has for the last couple of weeks. And I do think there's a correlation between Ron getting in the gym for extra shots and workouts, and his scoring is going up again.
Do you see any Devon Moore left in him since they played together for his freshman year? Is there anything that Devon left with him that kind of looks a little bit like his game?
Yeah, I do think his ability to drive the ball late in games. I mean, that's what Devon would do. He would pick his spots early in games, but when the game was in the balance, Devon drove the ball and got fouls and then made his free throws. And I do think that Ron is doing some of that both in his junior and senior year here. I think we need him to get a basket. We run a few things for him, but Ron just puts his head down and uses that terrific athletic ability to get to the rim, and he did it again a couple times last night. I think what you see is a pride in the result. I think that aggressiveness is really related to I don't want to lose, and I think you see that with juniors and seniors. I think Devon came in with that mentality as a freshman. He played on such a high-level high school team, Devon did, that he took losing personally, and he didn't have Ron's ability to shoot the ball quite so much, but I think they both have that very same ingredient, pride of winning, especially at home. I think that They take, the home crowd, and they want to be pleasers, and they want to win for the home crowd. And I think Devon did it, and both his junior and senior year, Ron's doing a lot of that.
Give us your take on one play that I think was very evident for everybody in the arena. It was the time that Tom Vodanovich finds himself all alone at the free throw line looking for various options, and then eventually takes the shot and scores the basketball.
So, we do a drill every day. We do it for 4 minutes, and it's drive and pivot. And Tom, more than anybody else, will kind of make a joke out of it. He'll start pivoting 5 and 6 times during the drill. So you take the ball from the three-point line, and you drive to the basket. And either on your outside foot, your foot farthest from the rim, or your inside foot, you have to pivot. And typically you pivot once or twice, and then you kick it out to a teammate, or you pivot once or twice and you shoot a shot at the rim. And every day, Tom, kind of as a lark, he'll pivot, and again, and then he'll jump real high in the air and he'll throw the ball back out. And that's our way of knowing, well, Tom doesn't want to do this drill anymore today. And there he was, pivoting and not being guarded. So he's the one, as he came up the ramp, said, hey, there's that drill that we do every day, and I made the shot. So Tom actually, kind of recognized, that we're not doing drills just for the sake of doing drills.
Dimitri Chabarkova hit yet another three yesterday, extending his streak now to, I think, 20 games. But tell us a little bit about his game yesterday as you're watching his evolution.
Well, let's be, fair about this. I don't really want anybody to write about this in the local paper. I don't want, with Dimitri putting any undue pressure on himself, other than he wants to score points. So we don't have to mention the streak if need be. We can do it here. Let's not do it in the paper. So his evolution of basketball is tremendous. I said, as soon as the game ended, he scored them in a rapid, seeming in fashion, because I didn't know that he had, 4 baskets. The three was a big shot. He does seem to be able to find openings to score. His rolling left-handed hook was a big-time shot. I mean, that's a really hard shot, but it's not for him. He has the ability to make shots that maybe nobody else in this league has with both hands. And we're going to want to throw him the ball just as much in the low post as we do, in the three-point line. And he's going to have to continue to show a learned ability to disseminate or to discriminate rather, what's a good shot. And that's the evolution of Dimitri. What's a good shot and what's a rush shot and what's a shot under duress.
I just thought he had one of his more businessman-like approaches in the game yesterday than what we've seen most recently.
No, I think that's true. He was economical. He didn't appear rushed. And in that zone, you don't get a lot of opportunities in the low post. And he wasn't able to pop to the high post. There was somebody there. And it was hard to get the ball to the corner. I do think he turned down a shot in the first half in front of their bench, ECU's bench, that I think most of the time he would have shot. So, discretion there I thought was proper, and that was a step in the right direction.
Johanny Dallenberg, is he back to 100% now?
Well, I think he is physically. I'm not sure that he mentally is ready, but I think we're going to need him to get back to being the efficient and aggressive low post scorer that he can be. I thought he was really good on defense. I thought he was good rebounding the basketball. I thought what he had done last night better than any other game. He ran from offense back to defense. I thought, the key to the game, it doesn't, again, we talked about this last week, what doesn't show up in the statistics, we probably kept East Carolina to a low for their season in points in transition. And to win that game, we need to keep them low in terms of opportunities to score in transition. I think we kept them really to 2 baskets in transition. But Dimitri and Johanny ran hard backing. We had numbers and made it really hard for them to get baskets or numbers in transition. So I thought Johanny had his best game since he's been here, getting back, sprinting back, and not jogging back. So that was significant.
You obviously can see defensively how well you're playing, but as a statistical indicator of that, how few times they also went to the free throw line, because I would think that anticipation defensively eliminates a number of fouls.
Yeah, like George Mason, we wanted to have a second defender on the driver. They have a little bit different philosophy than George Mason. George Mason was very willing to drive, get a paint touch, and kick to a waiting shooter. So we had to close a little bit more diligently to a waiting shooter against George Mason. This team to us was very frustrated by the fact that we built a wall with a second and a third defender, not just in transition but also in half court. They're athletic as heck. I mean, that's a very, very athletic team, and we didn't see it last night. You know, it's the first time everybody watched East Carolina. B.J. Tyson is as athletic a player as we'll play against all year, and he may be as athletic as anybody in their conference. Cincinnati, SMU, UConn. He's an elite athlete off the dribble, and he eats up space. If he has space, he gets to the rim very easily. I think he had 4 dunks against UNC Wilmington, and he was noticeably frustrated, I thought, as was, I think, Caleb White. And I thought in the second half they were a little bit, I think in their body language, they were a little bit, disgruntled. They were a little bit noticeably disappointed that they couldn't get to the rim. If they only see one guy, they get to the rim repeatedly. So, and they get to the rim and they're shooting down. I mean, Caleb White, the kid, Prince Williams, and B.J. Tyson, if they get to the rim and they jump off 1 foot, there's nobody in our league that can stop them. And I think even in their own league, UConn, SMU, and Cincinnati, if they jump off 1 foot, they're going to score. I mean, they're really good scoring the ball if they jump off 1 foot. They just couldn't get to that play for them.
All right, we'll turn it over to other members of the media here at O'Neill's Grill with JMU men's basketball coach Matt Brady. Gentlemen.
After yesterday's game, Coach, now you guys have had the opportunity to play in those close game situations already this season with mixed results. Do you feel like this team is getting better in those close game situations coming down to the final minute?
Well, yes, and I thought we were pretty good at it for a particularly young team last year. So I think that the kids are comfortable being in those games. I think our fans are going to have to get used to it. I think we're going to be in a lot of them, and we're not going to win them all. I mean, we're going to lose, I think, 1 or 2 of these games, but if you win most of them, if you win your share of them, you can have a terrific season. So I think our team is comfortable playing in late game situations. We have a way to get our guys shots in late game situations. We have isolations for just about everybody on our team that needs to have isolations. But it's really our defensive rebounding and our defensive field goal percentage that's going to win us those games. I thought to finish the game on a 7-0 kick was a big deal. I mean, we made them really work for their shots, and they were taking shots that they didn't want to shoot. So if we can continue to tweak game plans and make the opponent take shots that they don't want to shoot in late games, then I think it gives you a better chance to win those games.
How much has home court advantage played a role in your winning streak, and how significant is that considering this is a team that hasn't always played its best basketball at the Convo?
Well, at the mid-major level, you get winning streaks when you have home games. And the high major teams that have winning streaks check the box scores. They don't travel out of their building. So, BCS teams don't leave their building. That's why some of the longest winning streaks in the country are BCS teams and Gonzaga. And that's about it. Everybody else is going to travel and they're going to leave their building. So to have a home court winning streak, I think is significant. Dayton is on one right now. But when you have a winning streak going, it's usually BCS level teams. It's hard to win on the road in college basketball. The statistics are like 78% of the home teams win. And that's why BCS teams have a decided advantage come Selection Sunday.
And how significant, if any, is getting a 200th win just personally for you? And talk about how tough it is to get wins at this day and age in this sport, in this level of the sport.
Well, I'm real comfortable talking about how hard it is to get wins. It's really, really hard to win in college basketball. It's why I'm really proud of our team and our program, to get our program pointed to where we're heading. 200 wins just means I've coached in a lot of games. And I think if we stay healthy, knock on wood, we'll continue to win our fair share. This is a really good group to coach. Our whole staff feels really good about our team and the roles, accepting of the roles that they each have. They're not always happy day in and day out with their role, but they are putting their ego to the side and letting us coach them. And every day, it's been a really good thing to see our guys accept their role. And not every day are the same guys going to play in the second half. I think obviously that Ron Curry, Shakir, and Johanny are going to play in late game situations. The other, 2, 3, 4 guys going to get in late game situations is going to really differ. And, even as early as tomorrow, starting lineup, who comes into the game, it could all change.
How much did the type of flow the game had depict how deep you went into your bench? You were not as deep yesterday as you have been the last few games.
Yeah, the fact that they played zone and that we had to make multiple passes every possession, the game wasn't up and down, that they couldn't get in transition, it wasn't up and down. The game is in the high 50s, low 60s. It meant that I could go with the guys I felt comfortable defending and rebounding in that game. Put Joey in. Joey played more than Winston yesterday in the second half because I thought that we needed Joey's shot making and potentially his ability to get in the lane, which he happened to do late in the game. I thought one of the bigger shots in the game was Joey driving the basket and pivoting and finding Jackson Kent for a really big shot. Jackson's only make of the day. And I felt that Joey could make that particular play, and grateful that he made that play. And again, that's a dribble move that we work on every day. And he found his teammate, and Jackson made a shot that was really a big shot for us.
Their post player, Kanu Aja, only played about 11 minutes coming into the game, averaged not even 3 points, but had a big game yesterday. He's a big body, but he's not the first big body you played. Why was he so successful yesterday?
Well, we're switching a little bit more than we were a month ago on ball screens, and he rolled in there. So on 3 of his 4 baskets, it wasn't our center guarding, that really big dude. He's a big dude. And so if he's got another year of eligibility, he should be playing offensive line next year for East Carolina football. But I would say that 3 of his 4 baskets were on a switch, and 2 of them were against Shakir Brown. And as we started playing the second half, I said, well, this will be a interesting first play. I said to my staff as I sat down, I said, because they're going to do something on the switch. Let's pay attention to it. And all they ran was a horns play. They got Aju into the horns play. We switched. They threw it right into him. And we weren't going to change, but it was interesting that I just mentioned to our staff, let's see what they do here with the ball first possession. They went right to him, and he scored.
EC only made 3 3-pointers against Wilmington, but in the second half they found a rhythm. Talk about your defensive composure, if you will. Did your guys get frustrated at all? You had to regroup them during timeouts, or did they keep their composure defensively when ECU started making some of the threes?
No, we kept our composure. It's really good to see our guys, not being very nervous. And really the expectation from our group when they sit down is they think they're going to win the game, which is great because, I don't always feel that way, I can tell you. But the interesting thing about it was the threes that they made, 2 of them were the backup point guard, Tejada, when we did a very poor job closing on him with, hands down. So we made 2 mistakes on Tejada. He makes 2 in the second half. And the other mistakes were plays that we had gone over for Caleb White in the second half. Where we went the wrong way on screens. And again, we make mistakes and we pay for it. But I'd say to you 4 threes were mistakes that we made. And again, a decidedly different end-of-game feel if we don't make those mistakes. Joey McLean has his hands down on Tejada twice. And, not aggressive enough, not high hands, not energetic enough. That's our issue with Joey. Joey needs to play with more energy when he closes out the shooter with high hands. Hasn't done a good job at that. Part of the reason why Joey's playing a little less minutes now. And I thought that each of our wings made a mistake on Caleb White going the wrong way on screens, on plays we knew. And, we'll talk about that today in our first meeting. No, we haven't talked about it at all, to be honest with you. And I mentioned it to my staff the other day. I did make mention of the fact that no reason for us to lose right now. We're at home. Our defense is getting better. All these reasons. We're becoming a very unselfish group. There's no reason for us to lose unless we get in our own way. Let's not get in our own way. I say that all the time. I'll be honest with you. I'm an guardedly optimistic basketball coach. I like our team. I've said this since last spring. I don't think we're going to win every game going forward. I'm not crazy, but we're not going to win every game, I don't think. But I won't say that to our team even. I'm not going to tell our team that, hey, this is a hard. I do tell our team every game is hard to win. So I want them to recognize that tomorrow's game is not easy to win. If that team comes out and shoots the ball really, really well, then we could lose this game because they have speed on their side. We don't. But we don't talk about a winning streak per se.
Is there any elaborate backstory to this Mount St. Mary's game, or is that just kind of the quirks of scheduling that this happened?
No. How do you have a great season as a mid-major team? You have to have home games. What's the hardest game on the schedule for every team in America to win? It's the game right before Christmas. We wanted a home game right before Christmas. I didn't want to be on the road right before Christmas. We asked our administration if we could have a home game, and our administration allowed us to, have this game. It's a non-returned game next year, so it's the only game that's not a series that somebody's, So that's really the story behind the game. I would prefer to have a home game right before Christmas. Our administration willingly obliged, and as it turns out, we're in a winning streak, and hopefully we'll keep it going into Christmas because that would make my Christmas really crappy.
You bring up Christmas. You've got a lot of foreign guys on this team. Is there a stocking over the fireplace for Serb? Are you going to have any of those guys over for Christmas?
Everybody has somewhere to go, and Serb is going to Mike Dean's place. That is his American father, as it turns out. So I don't know if Mike has a stocking for Dimitri, but everybody else has a place to go. And we've had players at my place in years past, but nobody really wants to hang with the head coach. So I'm not offended.
Thank you very much, Coach. The Dukes tomorrow night against the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. They come in with a record of 3-7. Game time is 7 o'clock at the JMU Convocation Center. We will not be here next Monday. We're going to give the coaches next Monday off. We'll be back in the new year, the first Monday of the new year. And at that time, of course, we'll be in Colonial Athletic Association play. We'll return with Coach Kenny Brooks as well as Coach Matt Brady. By the way, the Dukes do have one more home game after tomorrow night's game before the new year, and that is on the 31st. It's a 1 o'clock ball game, the Dukes and the College of Charleston Cougars, a 1 o'clock game.
I think, Kurt, it's 1 o'clock. It's before the football games that day.
It is.
Kurt.
It is
no
before the football
games.
games.
Can't show up.
So it's, you come out to the combo, then you can go watch and come out to O'Neill's here afterwards and watch the football games here at O'Neill's. How about that? Good deal?
Good deal.
All right.
I'm looking forward, and I'll be here at O'Neill's after to watch the first football game.
There you go. Okay, very good. Thank you, Coach, and
thank you.
Happy holidays, everyone.